Lesson 17, Reading, Hickman's Lodge.
Hickman's Lodge is a resort in Estes Park, a small village in the Rocky Mountains. The resort is owned by Joseph P. Hickman. A central lodge, 10 cabins, and a variety of recreational facilities, tennis courts, hiking trails, riding horses, and fishing streams make up the resort. The history of the lodge goes back more than 100 years. The first step was taken by Joseph's grandfather, Thomas Hickman. It was he who, in 1870, purchased a large piece of wooded land in Estes Park. In 1900, the land was inherited by Joseph's father, and the lodge was built by him in 1910. It was well constructed, and it is still in use today. The family lived in the lodge together until 1950, when Joseph's father retired and moved to California. The property was given to Joseph by his father at that time. Joseph decided to develop a resort, and its present-day appearance and facilities are due to him. He sold part of the original land and used the money to add to the lodge and to build 4 cabins. 6 more cabins were built in 1960. In each cabin there are 2 small bedrooms and a comfortable sitting room with a fireplace. There are no cooking facilities in the cabins. All the guests are served in the lodge dining room. The lodge is a very comfortable place to stay, and people come back year after year. The resort is operated by Joseph and his wife, and is open for guests every summer from June to September. It is staffed principally by college students who wish to have a vacation in the mountains while they are earning money for their education. This is a very convenient arrangement for both the Hickmans and the students.
Questions on the reading.
1. What is Estes Park?
2. Who owns the resort?
3. What kinds of facilities make up the resort?
4. Who purchased the land on which the lodge is built?
5. What happened to the land in 1900?
6. Was the lodge built by Thomas Hickman?
7. Who gave the property to Joseph? When was that?
8. How did Joseph get the money to add to the lodge and build cabins?
9. Where do the guests eat?
10. Why do people come back to the lodge year after year?
11. How is the lodge staffed?
12. Why do mostly college students work at the lodge?
'Irregular and 2-word verbs. These are new irregular verbs and 2-word verbs that are used in Unit 5. Memorize them. Irregular verbs. Base form.
break,
Past.
broke,
Participle.
broken,
Now repeat, please.
break, broke, broken,
Hit. Hit. Hit.
hurt, hurt, hurt,
Keep. Kept. Kept.
overhear, overheard, overheard.
Show, showed, shown, showed.
Tear, tore, torn.
Two-word verbs. Repeat, please. Transitive.
Make up, separable.
1. Clean and put a room in order. 2. Compose, constitute.
Find out, separable.
Discover.
Look over, separable.
Examine. Intransitive.
Go on,
Happen, take place. Verb plus preposition.
wait on,
Serve.
practice drills and exercises. 1. Passive, with agent. Study the table and the sentences. Active, present.
See.
Passive.
Is seen.
Repeat, please. Present.
See. Is seen.
Past.
Saw. Was seen.
Present perfect.
Has seen. Has been seen.
Past perfect.
Had seen. Had been seen.
Modals.
Should see. Should be seen. Will, can, might, etc.
100,000 people see Bear Lake every year. Passive.
Bear Lake is seen by 100,000 people every year.
A 100,000 people saw Bear Lake last year. Passive.
Bear Lake was seen by 100,000 people last year.
Every nature lover should see Bear Lake. Passive.
Bear Lake should be seen by every nature lover.
Change these sentences to the passive. Follow the examples above.
1. The mechanic repaired the car.
The car was repaired by the mechanic.
2. The professor will give an examination tomorrow.
An examination will be given by the professor tomorrow.
3. Joseph Hickman owns the property.
The property is owned by Joseph Hickman.
4. Has the computer solved all our problems?
Have all our problems been solved by the computer?
5. Everyone could hear the speaker.
The speaker could be heard by everyone. Take the part of speaker B. Use the cue and form a sentence in the passive. Listen to the model.
1. Have the letters been sent? Miss Green.
Yes, they were sent by Miss Green.
Yes, they were sent by Miss Green.
Yes, they were sent by Miss Green.
Now you do the exercise.
1. Have the letters been sent? Miss Green.
Yes, they were sent by Miss Green.
2. Have the beds been made up? Sarah.
Yes, they were made up by Sarah.
3. Has Mrs. Hickman been told? Her son.
Yes, she was told by her son.
4. Has the accident been reported? Mr. Hickman.
Yes, it was reported by Mr. Hickman.
5. Have the chickens been fed? Nancy.
Yes, they were fed by Nancy.
2. Passive without agent. Say the sentence again, omitting the agent. Listen to the model.
1. The bridge was built in 1928 by 2 engineers.
The bridge was built in 1928.
The bridge was built in 1928.
The bridge was built in 1928.
Now you do the exercise.
1. The bridge was built in 1928 by 2 engineers.
The bridge was built in 1928.
2. A large piece of land was purchased by Thomas Hickman.
A large piece of land was purchased.
3. You will be served in the dining room by an excellent waiter.
You will be served in the dining room.
4. My car was hit by a bus.
My car was hit.
5. The letter will be answered this afternoon by Miss Jones.
The letter will be answered this afternoon.
6. The note was found the next day by her husband.
The note was found the next day.
7. The bill has already been paid by a friend.
The bill has already been paid.
8. Mrs. Smith should be told by her friends.
Mrs. Smith should be told.
9. More men were needed by the factory.
More men were needed.
10. All the food will probably be eaten by the guests.
All the food will probably be eaten.
3. WH questions in the passive. Take the part of speaker A. Use the statement of fact and form a question beginning with when. Use the passive without agent. Listen to the model.
1. Thomas Hickman purchased the land in 1870.
When was the land purchased?
When was the land purchased?
When was the land purchased?
In 1870.
Now you do the exercise.
1. Thomas Hickman purchased the land in 1870.
When was the land purchased?
In 1870. 2. Joseph's father inherited the land in 1900.
When was the land inherited?
In 1900. 3. His father gave the land to Joseph in 1950.
When was the land given to Joseph?
In 1950. 4. He built 4 cabins about 1954.
When were the 4 cabins built?
In 1954. 5. He constructed 6 more cabins in 1960.
When were the 6 cabins constructed?
In 1960. 6. Next year, Joseph will add several more cabins.
When will more cabins be added?
Next year. 7. He bought 20 riding horses in the early 60s.
When were the 20 riding horses bought?
In the early 60s. 8. He made the hiking trails only a few years ago.
When were the hiking trails made?
A few years ago. 4. Iteration. Year after year. Book after book, etc. Say the sentence again, changing the sentences as in the models. Listen.
1. The same guests came one year after another.
The same guests came year after year.
The same guests came year after year.
The same guests came year after year.
2. He read one book after another.
He read book after book.
He read book after book.
He read book after book.
Now you do the exercise.
1. The same guests came one year after another.
The same guests came year after year.
2. He read one book after another.
He read book after book.
3. They drank one glass after another.
They drank glass after glass.
4. She wrote one letter after another.
She wrote letter after letter.
5. She walked 1 mile after another.
She walked mile after mile.
6. We waited 1 hour after another.
We waited hour after hour.
7. It rained one day after another.
It rained day after day.
8. We used one towel after another.
We used towel after towel.
Speaker A, form a tag question. Take the part of Speaker B. Respond affirmatively using year after year, etc., as in the exercise above. Listen to the model.
1. He gives a lot of lectures, doesn't he?
Yes, he gives lecture after lecture. Now you do the exercise.
1. He gives a lot of lectures, doesn't he?
Yes, he gives lecture after lecture.
2. Tommy ate a lot of hamburgers, didn't he?
Yes, he ate hamburger after hamburger.
3. She buys a lot of dresses, doesn't she?
Yes, she buys dress after dress.
4. Teachers give a lot of tests, don't they?
Yes, they give test after test.
5. They take a lot of trips, don't they?
Yes, they take trip after trip.
6. You signed a lot of checks today, didn't you?
Yes, I sign check after check.
7. Bill buys a lot of records, doesn't he?
Yes, he buys record after record.
8. You sold a lot of bikes last week, didn't you?
Yes, I sold bike after bike.
9. They tell a lot of jokes, don't they?
Yes, they tell joke after joke.
10. Russ runs a lot of errands, doesn't he?
Yes, he runs errand after errand.
5. Appositives. Rewrite the sentences forming appositives as in the models. Now repeat, please.
1. Joseph's grandfather was Thomas Hickman. He was quite famous.
Joseph's grandfather, Thomas Hickman, was quite famous.
2. Estes Park is a small mountain village. It's near Denver.
Estes Park, a small mountain village, is near Denver.
3. The author was Frank White. He lived in Vermont.
The author, Frank White, lived in Vermont.
4. The property was a wooded piece of land in the Rockies. It was inherited by Joseph.
The property, a wooded piece of land in the Rockies, was inherited by Joseph.
5. Hickman's Lodge is a resort. It's run by the Hickmans.
Hickman's Lodge, a resort, is run by the Hickmans.
6. Russ is a college student at the University of Wyoming. He's a handyman in the summer.
Russ, a college student at the University of Wyoming, is a handyman in the summer.
7. The gift was a digital clock radio. It was just what Russ wanted.
The gift, a digital clock radio, was just what Russ wanted.
Dialogue for comprehension. Russ tells Greg. Listen to this dialogue until you can understand it easily. Learn the new words. Thursday, August 12th. Russ meets Greg and tells him what he overheard through the open window that afternoon.
Greg, I've got to talk to you.
But I'm on my way to work. Can't it wait?
This is important, and it'll only take a minute. You won't believe it.
Okay, but hurry.
I overheard the two men in cabin 6 planning a murder.
I don't believe it.
But it's true. I heard them. Their cabin window was open, and they didn't know I was listening. They're planning to kill someone named Dexter.
Okay, now calm down. It was probably the TV you heard.
No, it wasn't. I know. Greg, look in the hotel registrations and find out who those men are in cabin 6, and see if you can find out who this man Dexter could be.
Okay, I'll see what I can find out. I'll let you know.
End of Lesson 17.